When you think of Dracula, you probably imagine the caped vampire lurking in the shadows, waiting to sink his fangs into an unsuspecting victim. But what if I told you that the real-life inspiration behind Bram Stoker's Dracula was far more terrifying than the legend? This is not just a story of bloodthirsty vampires, but of a ruthless ruler, gruesome punishments, and psychological terror so extreme that even his enemies feared to utter his name. Today, I'll reveal the true horrors behind Vlad the Impaler, the man whose thirst for blood made him more feared than any fictional monster. Stick around as I unveil the top 5 most terrifying facts about the real Dracula. Fact number 5. Vlad Dracula wasn't just a nickname, it was his identity. Vlad III, the ruler of Wallachia, was known by many names, but his most infamous title was Vlad Dracula. The name Dracula comes from the Latin word Draco, meaning dragon. His father, Vlad II, was a member of the Order of the Dragon, a chivalric order founded by the Holy Roman Emperor Sigismund to defend Christianity against the Ottoman Turks. However, in Old Romanian, Dracul had a double meaning. It could mean dragon, but it also meant devil. After his father's assassination, Vlad took on the name Dracula, meaning son of the dragon or son of the devil, a fitting name for the horrors he would later commit. Even today, in parts of Romania, the name Dracula is not associated with vampires but with Vlad himself, a ruler both feared and respected. Fact number 4. He earned his reputation through mass impalements. Vlad the Impaler wasn't just a nickname, it was his signature method of execution. Impalement was a slow, excruciatingly painful death, designed not only to kill, but to terrify anyone who dared challenge his rule. Unlike what Hollywood shows, Vlad didn't just stab his victims onto stakes. His executioners would carefully drive a sharpened wooden stake through the body, often avoiding vital organs to prolong the suffering. Some victims survived for hours, even days, writhing in agony as their bodies slid further down the stakes. Vlad used this method on a massive scale. In 1462, when the Ottoman Sultan Mehmed II sent an army to conquer Wallachia, they arrived to find a horrific sight, a field of over 20,000 rotting, impaled corpses stretching for miles. The stench of death was so overwhelming that many Ottoman soldiers turned back in fear. By the end of his reign, Vlad is estimated to have impaled between 40,000 and 80,000 people, including enemy soldiers, traitorous nobles, and criminals. Fact number 3. The infamous Easter 1457 massacre, a ruthless power move. In 1457, Vlad Dracula eliminated the Wallachian boyars, the noblemen who had betrayed his father and conspired against him. On Easter Sunday, he invited hundreds of nobles and their families to a grand feast in Târgoviște, the Wallachian capital. The boyars, who were accustomed to political intrigue, believed they were attending a traditional royal celebration. At the height of the banquet, Vlad gave the deadly command. His soldiers burst into the hall, arresting the noblemen and dragging them outside. The older, more influential nobles, those Vlad held responsible for the instability in Wallachia, were executed immediately, impaled on tall stakes. The younger noblemen were not killed, at least not right away. Instead, Vlad ordered them to march barefoot and in chains to the Poenari fortress, a remote mountain stronghold that was falling into ruin. They were forced into grueling physical labour, rebuilding and reinforcing the fortress under brutal conditions. Many perished from exhaustion, starvation, or disease. This calculated act of terror was more than mere vengeance. It was a strategic move. By wiping out the old noble families, Vlad eliminated political opposition and secured his absolute authority over Wallachia. Fact number 2. He used extreme psychological tactics against his enemies. Vlad didn't just fight battles, he waged psychological warfare. During his conflicts with the Ottoman Empire, he employed scorched earth tactics, burning his own villages and poisoning wells to deprive invading forces of resources. One of his most infamous tactics was the night attack of June 17th, 1462. As Sultan Mehmed II and his massive Ottoman army advanced toward Wallachia, Vlad led a surprise night raid on their encampment. Disguised as Ottoman soldiers, his men infiltrated the camp and slaughtered thousands while they slept. The chaos was so great that Ottoman forces turned on each other in confusion. Vlad also left gruesome displays of impaled bodies along roads leading into his territory, ensuring that anyone who entered Wallachia knew what fate awaited them. These terror tactics were so effective that some Ottoman soldiers abandoned campaigns out of sheer fear. Fact number 1. He was brutal, but some considered him a hero. Vlad's reign was filled with unimaginable cruelty, but to many Romanians he was not a villain. He was a defender of his land. Though he was exiled and eventually assassinated, his memory still lives on in Romania, where many see him as a strong leader who did what was necessary to protect his people. His fortress, Ponari Castle, still stands as a testament to his rule. So, was Vlad the Impaler a monster, or was he a necessary evil in a brutal time? His story has been twisted into legend, but one thing is certain: his thirst for blood was not a myth, it was history. If you enjoyed this dark history deep dive, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Until next time, stay curious and stay out of the shadows.